Geryon glides through the air before plunging into the abyss. Slowly, the glow emanating from the hollows of the eighth circle reveals your destiny. 10 trenches, known as bulges, encircle concentric slopes, forming a colossal amphitheater where the fraudulent endure their just punishment. Each layer is destined for a different kind of sinner, and their agonized screams blend together, echoing like a wailing orchestra. Fortunately, there is no need to walk between them, as a long stone footbridge promises to take you straight to the ninth circle.
There you go, travelers. The bargain is fulfilled.
The monster leaves you at the head of the bridge, eager to be rid of you. Then, without thanks or farewells, he ascends into the darkness again. The divine arrangement does not allow the creature to go any further, but that is fine. The straight path is enough, or so it seems.
Welcome to the Malbolge, mortals. A demon surprises you, appearing behind you as you take your first steps down the footbridge. He is slim, and veins pulse like lava on his bat wings, dark as night. I am Malacoda, Lord of the Malbronk, and now also Lord of the Malbolge. If I am not mistaken, you want to join the band that came earlier, right? I can help with that.
Help? From a fraudulent? We are no fools, the devotee disdains. Besides, the path is clear. Why do we need you?
Oh, you do not know. It is your fault. The giants guarding the abyss are the sentinels who make the souls cross to Cositus in the ninth circle. But your companions are killing them all right now as we discuss it. You'll need to find another way.
The demon runs his forked tongue over his lips, savoring every word. Holding back sighs is impossible.
Calm down. Not all is lost. I know how you can descend, but nothing is free.
Maybe he can really help after all.
Insurgency, rebellion, sacrilege. My servants have turned against me. 3 of them, the troublemakers, need to pay in blood. Lebicoco, Farfarello, and Chirato. Take care of them for me, and I will tell you what you need to know.
The devotee narrows her eyes, suspicious.
And what guarantees do you give us? You never speak plainly, demon. There is always a but or a however lurking on the tip of your tongue, words that echo all your thoughts.
None, but there are certainly rewards along the way.
He smiles like a mischievous child.
If you do not wish to do it, to help me, then do it for them. The damned are dreaming of treasures that should not belong to them.
Malacoda, the self-proclaimed Lord of the Eighth Circle, proposes a deal. Reject it. The conflict that divides your hearts and minds is evident in the glances you exchange and the grimaces that twist your faces. Silence itself indicates your response, and Malacoda notices this.
Comrades, wait. You need not commit now.
The demon raises his hands, the annoying smile still plastered on his face. Shaking his head, he continues.
After all, we are on the same side, right?
There is a treacherous softness in his voice that makes every word seem like bait. Before you can answer, Malacoda vanishes with a bow, the air sealing shut around him in the blink of an eye. All that remains is the acrid smell of sulfur. Suspicious, but you have no choice but to move forward. The caravan takes discovery card number 36, Rebellious Malbronk. The stuffy air, filled with the stench of sweaty bodies, is the first thing you feel as you advance across the bridge. The sound of whipping and suffering echoes, coming from the first bolgia. Down below, through the parapet, you see the damned walking in 2 lines. On one side, the panderers, who sold the bodies of others. On the other, the seducers, who use their own charm to deceive. Comical, plump creatures, dark as pitch with bat-like wings and tridents in hand, whip them, both with cruel delight. Then, an electric sensation hangs in the air, too familiar to ignore. Minos' wife. Her black hair dances in the wind, and lightning streaks down her arms, sparking like hungry beasts. She is in the bolgia below, dangerous, irresistible, as powerful as you remember. Should you pay her a visit? The witch's presence weighs upon you. Ignoring her does not seem wise, and you then head down a winding path that starts from the sides of the bridge, soon mingling with the damned. Minos' wife walks among the seducers, yet the seed of rebellion burns strong within her. Thundering in every direction, she refuses punishment and drives away the demons that try to bend her to the divine will like true royalty. The caravan does not have discovery card number 4.
So, we meet again. No need to be hasty. There is no reason for us to have any quarrels now.
Pasiphae smiles, her eyes white with crackling lightning.
There is something you do not know. After you left, Minos discovered that I am not his real wife, and threw me here to rot.
You look at each other confused.
By the 9 circles! I cannot believe I was bested by such naive people. Hear me well. My name is Artemis Papadakis. I am a mortal, a sister speaker of the order. When we planned this invasion, my Vlad thought of this deception to convince the judge to let us pass without a battle. But things did not go as expected. And now you need our help like every damned dweller of this place?
The outlaw completes his sentence, sharp as an arrow. The woman raises an eyebrow.
A little push is all I need. My powers come from a pagan ritual, and I need to absorb the power of some specific relics to get them back. Whole again, I could subdue the Malbronk once and for all, and free myself from this punishment. Help me with this, and I will be in your debt.
An offer that does not seem at all tempting, but the mercenary has a plan. Would you have the power to take us to the next circle? He lets out. The artist and the outlaw seem to agree, but not the devotee. I mean, make us float like you across the abyss.
Of course.
The woman pauses to think before answering, her confusion evident.
If I am not trapped in this bolgia, I can guide you wherever I want. Of that I am sure.
Now she has your attention.
So what about a deal?
Artemis smiles in satisfaction.
Good. Maybe this is the beginning of an alliance after all. What is Christ's main message if not forgiveness?
You cannot tell if she is serious.
I sense the presence of 3 powerful artifacts, created from the disruptions of the invasion. The Hourglass of Moros, which is in the Bolgia of the Soothsayers. The Necklace of Harmony, lost in the Bolgia of the Thieves. And finally, the Mirror of Eris, kept among the schismatics of the 9th Bolgia. Bring these items to me, and I will help you.
She lists the items on her fingers.
The shortest path is across the bridge that hangs over the Bolge. From there, you can choose your next destination. You should pay a visit to that of the Soothsayers first. Do not do anything foolish.
She offers one last piece of advice and then falls silent. A veiled invitation for you to move forward. The caravan takes discovery card number 37. A nauseating stench assaults you as you approach the next valley, where the air feels almost solid with putrefaction. With your noses covered, you lean over the bridge railing, gazing down at the misery of the 2nd Bolgia, reserved for the flatterers. There, a river of filth winds through the valley, carrying all manner of impurities, excrement, mud, and refuse, drowning the damned in this wretched and humiliating mire. In life, these people flattered and manipulated for their own gain. Now, they drown in the filth they spread. Feeling sick, you quickly step back and continue along the bridge. More than ever, you are grateful that the path goes over these horrific places rather than through them. Fate, however, is ironic and relentless. You can see, now that you are closer, what awaits. The bridge continues uninterrupted over the 3 other Bolgias, that of the Simoniacs, that of the Soothsayers, and that of the Baraters, but right at the beginning of the 6th, that of the Hypocrites. It has collapsed, crumbled into pebbles that are lost in the ditch, even though the bridge seems to continue on the other side. Walking among the damned is inevitable. Advancing a few yards, you reach the trail that leads to the 4th Bolgia, that of the Soothsayers, people who abuse the faith of others to deceive or dare to try to uncover the future, which belongs only to the high power. An imposing, ruined church, clearly conjured up by the musings of a damned man, lies not far away, and you quickly assume it houses something of value. Even though the path to it is safe, given the inability of the souls here to harm anyone, it is not any less painful to follow. The Soothsayers, you notice in horror, wander about without knowing where they are going, staggering with every step, for their necks are twisted backwards. Their faces, projected from behind, only see where they have already been, as a way of punishing them for having tried to predict what was ahead. In this abandoned church, the partially collapsed stone ceiling lets fragments of gray light enter, illuminating the interior. The wooden gates are wide open, and old coat and hat racks rot in the corners. On the altar, an hourglass made of intertwined bones begins to pour dark sand as soon as you lay eyes on it. Completing the sinister scene, a hoarse voice rises from the shadows of the presbytery, followed by the figure of a man with a cracked skull and a face streaked with dried blood, clothed in humble rags.
"You are not going to get it out of there like that,"
he says to the mercenary, who is trying to pull the artifact using his strength.
"I am Michael Scott, and this is my torment."
The soothsayer introduces himself, his neck in the right place, as he finally steps out of the shadows.
"It is my treasure, but also my curse. Greater than your desire to acquire it, travelers, is my desire to give it to you. But I cannot do it alone. My mind plays tricks on me."
Unlike the others, this damned soul has no control over the very fantasies he conjured in defiance to the divine order.
"What do we need to do, then?"
The artist is intrigued.
"Help me solve the riddle of my death, the missing part of my memory."
Instinctively, the damned reaches for the crack in his head.
"At the court of Frederick II of Sicily, I read the stars to discover his designs, making predictions of the future. I once anticipated my own death, and began wearing a helmet wherever I went. Still, I died as predicted, and the only clue I have is my countenance. I know I appear as I died.
For someone who has always sought to know everything, uncertainty is the greatest ordeal.
I just want to return to my just punishment.
An astrologer and astronomer, a man of science, there is nothing that tortures a mind like his more than insoluble doubt.
Tell me, travelers, how could I die if I had already foreseen it?
I'm going to say a rock fell from the ceiling. As soon as the first words leave the artist's mouth, the sands slow down, and Michael's eyes widen in an epiphany. He remembers everything.
Yes, that was it! That was it!
He is euphoric.
The helmet would have protected me from this tragedy, but the rock that hit me fell from the roof of a church, and therefore I did not have it on then. I always took off my hat when entering one, as a sign of respect. The designs of the high power are inescapable, after all.
That last sentence hits you like a punch. If everything is written in stone and cannot be changed, is the outcome of this quest of yours already designed? How broad is the notion of free will, really? As if the power of the damned was tied to the hourglass. He only had to hand it over to the mercenary, for the ground to begin to shake, and the sound of bones cracking to fill the air. Michael's neck slowly twists as the world around you begins to crumble. You leave the church, taking great care not to share the fate of the Scot. Looking back one last time when you finally step outside, the whole scene soon dissolves into a cloud of dust and debris that gradually settles, blending into the earth. Now only the figure of a man lies in the center of that sinister terramorph. Michael, resigned to his place. With his head turned back and his steps staggering, he wanders, lost, through the fourth Bolgia once again. A silent farewell. With heavy hearts, you take a path adjacent to the footbridge, believing it will lead you to the stone bridge again. But whether by distraction or by the force of destiny, as if the Malbolgia was playing with your senses, the road takes you through another cave, to the sixth, where the hypocrites receive their punishment. The caravan takes the hourglass of Moros treasure card. Here, the damned march in slow procession, wrapped in cloaks that shine with majesty, but appearances are deceiving. Beneath the golden hoods, the true nature of the garment is revealed. Their crushing weight punishes the hypocrites, mocking them for what they were in life. Beautiful on the outside, rotten on the inside. The damned are so consumed by their penance that they scarcely notice your presence, until, suddenly, they stop and lift their heads. All together. A sinister movement that sends a chill down your spines. In this moment of tension, the outlaw catches a glimpse of one sinner's face, and time suddenly slows, blurring the line between past and present in his mind. Victory! The campaign led by the young outlaw had taken another step forward, but at what cost? The rebel gazed upon the battlefield, his eyes heavy with regret. The lush green pasture gave way to a sprawling pit of mud, bodies and blood. Mothers lost their children, children lost their parents, and life continued to be painful. Nothing really changed. The roars of the peasant and mercenary army exalted the young man, barely in his 20s, as the hero of a new era, the chosen one, destined to change the world. That night, over a grand supper, the commanders of each detachment gratefully swore loyalty in exchange for slices of territory seized from their former lords. The way they looked at each other, and then at the outlaw, made it clear. He was a king without a crown, a perpetuator of what he swore to fight.
Nonsense, my love.
In the comfort of his bed, the rebel listened to Melandra's poisonous words.
These men chose to serve you. They were not forced. Just as sheep need a shepherd, people need a leader. A time will come when every man and woman must choose their kingdom's beacon through faith and reason. You are merely the first of them.
A kiss on the tip of the ear seals the act of manipulation. A comforting thought, maybe even too comforting. Darling, wake up! The outlaw jolts from his reverie to find the artist snapping her fingers, her gaze fixed on him.
We need to think of a plan. Do you have any suggestions?
She whispers, but it is the sight of the rebel's own reflection beneath a heavy hood that consumes his thoughts. Dazed, he rubs his eyes, blinks once or twice, and presto, an unfamiliar face appears before him once again. Still, he knows it was not a hallucination, but a test. Was his heart always on the side of the people in the rebellions, or did he do what he did for his own benefit? The rebel needs to remember how he felt that day. He wanted to help, but also himself. This place may try to confuse one's thoughts, but the outlaw knows the truth. Even though Melandra had awakened a lustful thirst for power, he, like his men, was already tired of living a life of misery and abuse. The rebellion was started with the purpose of changing the world, but its leaders soon became accustomed to the comforts of power, and the cause was lost along the way. Guilt is still a burden he carries, but not as a golden cloak like the damned. A scar that never lets him forget that the world is a cruel place, and there is little room for true change. Social order is rooted in people's culture, and this idea cannot be defeated by one man or army. The outlaw drops his gaze for a moment, There is no pride in his expression, nor any hint of revolt, just acceptance. The hypocrites look around, sniffing the air like hounds, but regret is a feeling they do not know, and that is why they cannot see him any more. To them, he disappeared into thin air like smoke.
That was close.
The mercenary sighs as the host finally lower their heads and begin their tedious marching once more.
What could that have been?
He asks, but silence is the rebel's favorite note, and only he knows what happened. Continuing forward, you reach the trail that leads to the bridge again, now on the other side of the 6th trench. Even though the abyss is visible from here, 4 other bulge, and who knows what else, are still in the way. The outlaw progresses to freed rebel. As silently as you can, you continue along the footbridge, passing over the 7th bulge. Even though the pits only have horrors to show, resisting the curiosity of looking at them is impossible. In this one, a crowd of naked damned are attacked by snakes of all colors and sizes, filling the air with hisses and screams of pain. As soon as the vipers sink their fangs, the thieves burst into flames, burning in agony until they turn to ashes. Yet, like phoenixes, their bodies rise from the charred mounds, only to endure punishment again in an endless cycle. The torment captures the gaze of every passer-by, yet amidst the chaos of flames and writhing reptiles, a temple with columns and marble staircases gleams in the pale light. On the stone above the entrance, even from a distance, you recognize the symbol of the nymph Harmonia, a rose pierced by a sword. Visiting it is a tempting idea, but not the only option. Just ahead, another trail joins the footbridge, leading to the 8th ditch, the one of the counselors of fraud. From here, you still cannot see what happens in detail, but maybe that is not even necessary. The path to the end of the bridge remains clear. The journey to the temple could be considered a voyage in its own right. The path is not long, less than a mile ahead, but dodging all the snakes and the souls in agony makes it seem like an eternity. Finally, entering through the gates guarded by the symbol of a rose pierced by a sword, you arrive at a hall carved in marble, shining with the reddish light of the Malbulge. High reliefs adorn the walls, depicting heroic battles, while the sound of dripping water mingles with the rhythm of footsteps, forming an unsettling cadence in the silence. 2 paths branch off from the entrance, and it is up to you to decide which step to take next. The winding corridor that runs south, silently, or the other that leads straight east, from where a distant hum and a dripping sound echoes. Let us proceed to the south. You arrive in a circular room with a vaulted ceiling, where the air is cold and there is no sound. Runes are etched into the ground, their meaning long lost to the passage of time. The caravan does not have scepter of peace or the war sword, so continue. In the center of the room stands a statue of a king, made of obsidian, holding a scepter in one hand and a sword in the other. The objects, made of steel, do not seem attached to it, but rather adorn it. The place is covered in webs and dust, conjured to look like an ancient building, even though it did not exist before the order came. Every step you take in these corridors carries the feeling that eyes are on you at all times, but you see no one when you search in the shadows. Let's take the scepter. As the devotee pulls out the scepter, a searing pain shoots through her fingers and spreads up her arms and shoulders. Instead of letting go, the pain makes her tighten her grip on the object. Little by little, the hurt diminishes, leaving her breathless, but with the scepter in her hands.
Peace never comes easy,
the devotee murmurs, turning to the sword, which is already beginning to turn to obsidian. Surprised, she catches a flicker of movement in the sculpture's eyes. Both the artifacts and the statue itself once belonged to the world of the living, but are now condemned to an eternity of punishment in the Inferno. The king's identity, however, remains a mystery lost in time and suffering. A tingling sensation takes over, and in the blink of an eye, you find yourself standing elsewhere, at the entrance to the labyrinth. The caravan takes the Scepter of Peace treasure card. Then each champion rolls 1 combat die, inflicting damage on themselves equal to the number of hits they scored. Fumbles count as 3 damage. The outlaw and mercenary down to 3 vigor, and the artist and devotee down to 5. Back in the hall, where high reliefs on the walls depict heroic battles, 2 paths diverge from the entrance. One, a winding corridor running silently south, the other, a straight path leading east, where a distant hum and the sound of dripping water echo. Time to go east. The path leads to a large room, where ancient symbols, almost erased by time, adorn the arched masonry ceiling, a place like any other. Yet it reveals 3 passages. To the south, a constant hum reverberates through the corridor. To the north, a winding passage curves to the right, where the sound of steady dripping echoes. And to the west, where you feel a cool breeze flowing in your direction. Let's go north. The path leads to a smaller chamber, where Greek inscriptions adorn the walls. Harmony is the proper adjustment of opposites, the synthesis of opposites, a quote from Pythagoras that the artist recognizes. A distant sound of running water mingles with the constant dripping, suggesting that an underground river winds beneath the labyrinth. The place is dark, but its architecture is helpful. With only 2 passages, and one being the way you entered, navigation is not difficult. Where are you going now?
South.
The corridor ahead narrows, and the icy walls seem to press in closer with every step you take. The soft echo of your footsteps bounces off the stone walls, blending with the steady dripping that disturbs the silence. In the distance, the dim red light of a torch wavers on the brink of extinction, casting flickering shadows across the path. 3 corridors stretch out from here, with one to the north echoing the faint sound of running water, one to the west resonating with a strange hum, and one to the south glowing with a faint light. South again. The passage slopes gently downward, and the smell of damp intensifies as you arrive at a miraculously lit chamber. Here, a marble pedestal supports the bust of a woman, sculpted with Hellenistic perfection. A necklace, a thin golden chain with a pendant in the shape of a small sword adorned with a rosebud, rests on her chest. The piece, however, does not move when the artist tries to take it. The carvings at the base of the structure hint at a riddle. I am treasure no one can keep. For where I lie, happiness cannot live. In war, I am weapon. In love, emotion. What force am I? One that commands the heart. Power, passion, friendship, wisdom, the possibilities are endless. The devotee raises the alternative so briefly that the artist instinctively recites the verse. Which of them shall we offer as our answer to the temple? The necklace of harmony lies before you, but a riddle holds it in place, and you must solve it. Sounds like passion to me, based off of happiness cannot live, and in love, emotion. Harmony is the daughter of Aphrodite and Ares, the artist comments thoughtfully. She symbolizes the balance between love and war, a story marked by beauty, but also by tragedy. Bringing her hands to the necklace again, she says the answer you agreed upon and waits for a signal from the temple. If you guessed B. The necklace, forged by divine hands, is a mysterious jewel, so powerful that legend claims it silenced an entire ballroom the moment it touched the neck of the nymph Harmony. Her beauty was incomparable, but the story ends in tragedy with the death of her and her husband, Cadmus. A story that slices through the artist's mind in an instant, drawing a single tear from her eye. The recognition that the piece needs. Once heavier than an elephant, the necklace now dangles from the wanderer's hands, as lightly as a feather. You got the riddle right. Suddenly, the world begins to shake, and a sinkhole opens beneath your feet. In the fleeting moments between the ground crumbling and darkness swallowing you, fragments of distant places, ruins, battlefields, ancient halls, flash before your eyes, along with cherished memories, both good and bad. The fall through the hole is confusing and brutal. You scream and bang against the tunnel walls the entire way, but eventually it ends. You emerge on the other side, through the mouth of a cave, into completely different territory. This is the Bolgia of the Schismatics, the 9th Trench. The caravan takes the Necklace of Harmony treasure card. The scene that awaits you could not be more terrible. Here, in the 9th Bolgia, the land is soaked with the blood of the damned, who promoted family, social, or religious discord. The stench of dismembered bodies is nauseating, and a cacophony of despairing screams and demonic laughter fill the air. Those who try to divide humanity and life are brutally punished with endless dismemberment and death. May Saint Sarah help us, the artist murmurs. Once again she looks away. Coincidence or not, it is at the moment when she looks toward the exit through which you came that another artifact captures her attention. It's not possible. She notices a silver mirror, immaculate amidst the blood, as though it had fallen from someone's pocket, yet none of you remember it. It is the mirror of Eris. The name, like every legend tied to the object, comes to the devotee's mind as she gazes at her own reflection in the silver surface. A memory transfer. We do not remember it because it is not ours. At least not yet. The look you give her demands an explanation. It is cursed. It will only agree to leave if we offer the appropriate tribute, a treasure that never belonged here, created by the power of disarray from the memories of Pasiphae? In fact, Minos' wife is more powerful than she seems. Anyway, the mirror asks for something that is ours, something personal and valuable, a piece of ourselves. This sounds like a riddle, just like the one we had to solve just now. Or we could just do the right thing and go away, the outlaw says, pointing to a road that leads back to the stone bridge just ahead. Honestly, I don't understand what is wrong with you. Take numbered path cards 36 to 39. Offer a trait to the mirror. Interpreting the description as a metaphor, you look within yourselves for a singular fragment of your essence, a feeling, personality trait, or behavior, anything that refers to the spirit. You picture the undulating mirror and this personal trait as a silent offering. In response, the mirror radiates a dark hunger, consuming a piece of your souls. The tension around you dissolves into an unsettling calm. Something has been ripped from within you, but in return, the mirror accepts the sacrifice and lets you claim it. Collecting the artifact, you head back to the footbridge, crossing a steep and bumpy road. The caravan will remove the soft-hearted trait from Minotaur. The caravan then takes the Mirror of Eris treasure card, and we now have the hourglass and the necklace, so we gain discovery card number 38, treasures gathered. And we do not have discovery card number 6. So, you finally cross the footbridge over the last Bolgia, now very close to the abyss. The falsifiers find their punishment down there, running wildly from one side to the other. They try to escape their punishment, but it is in vain, as it comes from within their own bodies. Ailments of every kind afflict them, giving them a sickly, deathly appearance. Wounds bleed, itching is endless, and everything seems terribly contagious. Again, there is no reason to visit the damned, if not for a greater good. Besides, an even more curious scene catches your attention. A knight of the order is standing, alone, just ahead. The pomp suggests a one-man army, but it is not their skill you need to fear. As the footsteps fade beyond the bridge and the silhouette comes into view, you can hardly believe your eyes. There she is, whole again. Julia, the knight commander you faced in the Circle of the Wrathful, the artist's soulmate. This can only be a hoax, the Wanderer tries to convince herself. Whoever you are, demon, you better show your true form, or I will make you pay for the insult to her memory. The answer, however, is laughter. I knew it! Finally! That fire in your eyes. I have rarely seen you so tenacious, so full of energy, but I always knew this determination burned deep within you. She walks toward you, growing more and more confident. Be not confused, my dear. Nothing is impossible for him who holds the spear.
For heaven's sake, it really is, Julia.
Shortly before that fateful day when the woman parted for good, the artist and Julia found themselves together under the moonlight again. It was another night of celebration. However, they had nothing to celebrate. Their relationship was painful, always hidden, always hurting each other. Neither of them wanted to live like that, but from time to time, suspicion fell on them. They did not need to be true. The accusation was enough to create problems. Of all the absurd suggestions the Wanderer had ever made, this one surpassed them all. She would dress as a man, wear a fake beard, and they would move to the countryside, pretending they were a couple. She was skilled at imitations and was confident it would solve everything, or at least close the investigations. It was clear that they must separate, not because of what was going on in their hearts, but because of what was going on in their minds. The life that for the artist would be full of guilt and haunted by the fire was for Julia a crusade. The romanticized struggle of the two against a rigid, archaic society that refused to accommodate all expressions of love. The Wanderer freezes. She cannot decide whether to hug her partner, kneel down and ask for forgiveness, or doubt her own sanity. Fear not. It was the Supreme Leader who brought me back, just before the army left Dante. He suspected you would come, and ordered me to wait here, to knock some sense into your heads. Julia gives explanations without you having to ask, and she has a lot to tell. Honey, you have lived a life of fear and coercion just for being different. You truly think we do not deserve paradise, no matter how it was always been sold to us? That we are not also his daughters? What we feel is not lust, for we do not feel it toward men, nor have we been corrupted by the devil. We were born this way. He made us this way. The world understands us not, for the powerful have taken over, and the true message has been lost. Delicate statements that make you question your own beliefs. To accept this argument inevitably means agreeing with the premise on which the order was founded, if not with its methods of achieving that goal. However, would the saints have chosen the artist, knowing her convictions could be shaken, if they truly intended to stop them? I have not come to fight you, my dear. Now, far from the poet's sweet words that echo what the powerful want to hear, you have the choice to see the truth. Choose salvation. Julia extends her hand to the Wanderer. Julia stands in the way again, but she must remain loyal to the faith. Anyone unmoved by hearing these words is already dead inside. There is comfort in accepting that the teachings were poorly conveyed by the rulers of Earth, legitimizing resistance against the current order. Though the artist understands what drives Julia, some details escape her. First and foremost, feeling is not sinning. To sin is to act when one should not. Secondly, the high power never places a burden greater than one can bear. If you were born this way, you can still be happy. Maybe not as you thought, but still happy. I regret, my love. The Wanderer weeps once more, abandoning the hand that once promised the life she so longed for. I have chosen to fight for my faith. Whether the teachings are wrong or not, whoever uttered them will have to deal with the high power. It is not up to me to question, but to find my way. She finishes, letting her guard down. No matter what happens, the only thing she knows is that she will not fight the knight again. Worry not, dear. Julia lowers her hand. I stand, but it takes all my strength. My body wastes away because my life is not natural. Soon the spear will be used again, and I will faint. I was not resurrected like Lazarus. I was just given a false shadow of life. The outlaw looks to the ground, afraid that you will see his eyes. The mercenary rubs his eyes. He is less shy. The maiden, impassive, holds her composure, yet the tragedy of the two girls strikes a blow to any heart. Go in peace. The knight says goodbye. I know you will do the right thing when the time comes. A smile spreads across her face, and the two finally hug, unable to contain their feelings. The haste of the journey denies the girls a memorable farewell, but you leave them there, clinging to each other, savoring a few final moments. Creation can wait a little longer, after all. The artist progresses to Adamant Wanderer. Finally, you reach the edge of the 8th circle, where another deep chasm leads to the 9th circle. As Malacoda rightly said, the giants, mythological creatures who brought travelers down safely, are nowhere to be seen.
So, you have reached the end.
The demon's voice suddenly reverberates once more, cutting through the silence. Speak of the devil, and he will show his tail. The caravan does not have discovery card number 39.
It seems you failed to keep our agreement after all.
Malacoda feigns ignorance, though he knows full well what was agreed upon and what happened on your journey. He never stopped watching over you through the eyes of his servants.
Honestly, maybe you did the right thing. The truth is that I did not intend to do my part either.
The devotee frowns and narrows her eyes. Her hands graze the handle of the weapon, and perhaps this is the first time you have seen her this angry. Tension fills the air like a perfume. Taking a deep breath, the demon opens his wings and draws his swords, showing all his strength.
How do you prefer to do this? Shall we indulge in idle talk, or shall we go straight to the real fight?
By heavens, he tries hard to make you hate him. The caravan does have card number 37, Artemis's spell. Demon, wait! A thunderous voice interrupts the fight. It is Artemis, whom you have met among the panderers and seducers. Do not touch the mortals, or you will see! We made a deal, and I have my share to collect. She descends, floating, lightning dancing around her like a storm incarnate. Malacoda's expression shows his dissatisfaction, but he knows that the odds are in your favor if the sorceress joins the fight, and so he lets silence answer for him. Good, she snorts, turning to you. Now, let us get straight to the point. Where are the artifacts you promised to acquire for me? The caravan has discovery card number 38. The mercenary collects the relics and steps forward. With arms as thick as tree trunks, he is best suited to shield you. Very well, mortals. You have your uses after all. She has barely been sentenced and already speaks like a long-time damned soul. Come, give me the relics, and with my power restored, I shall lead you into the abyss. You have my word, on behalf of the order. She now understands the condottiero's question when you made the agreement. Artemis seems to be telling the truth, but a bad feeling hovers over your hearts. Would it be a good idea to leave her with such powerful objects? Artemis asks you to hand over the relics. Note that if you hand them over, she will take you to Cocytus, avoiding the battle. Let's deliver the relics. A deal is a deal, the mercenary says as he hands over the relics. Your silence reinforces his position. Artemis cannot help but smile as she receives the treasures.
Hey, but what does this mean? We had a battle to fight, and you are ruining it.
Malacoda roars, pointing his swords at her now.
You already have your children's toys. Now let the adults have fun, please.
A deal is a deal, she answers with a thunderous voice, lightning crackling through her eyes. Do you really want to find out how this ends for you, demon? You could not beat us before. Now you will show yourself even weaker in the eyes of your Malbronk. You think I have not heard the rumors of rebellion? She has him now. A brute creature can impose order on 1, 2, 10, or even 100 demons through fear. To rule over thousands, however, one needs to be intelligent, and Malacoda is one of those. The mischievous grin dissolves into his scowl, and then, without a word, he disappears again, exploding in a cloud of black smoke. And so you avoid the battle by moving forward. Well, there you have it, friends. That is the end of the fraud circle. We have bypassed the confrontation, and I'm sure in the 9th and final phase, we will have to deal with the repercussions of giving Artemis all those treasures. But that will do it for this episode, friends. I'll see you next time in Hell, where I play it quick.